Joe Samuel Girard is known as the greatest salesman in the world. Salesmanship is not merely a job, sometimes it is an art form that captivates. Many people around the world work in this field, but to have one's name recorded in the Guinness World Records and be hailed as the greatest salesman is no easy feat. From 1963 to 1978, the name Joe Samuel Girard stood out with a record of selling 13,001 Chevrolet cars, making him one of the most successful car dealers in the history of the retail automobile industry. However, before achieving such remarkable success, Joe endured numerous failures, from business setbacks to facing personal challenges. Joe was born on November 1, 1928, during a grim economic period in the United States. His birthplace was in the slums of East Detroit, Michigan. As the son of Syrian immigrants, Joe's family survived by doing odd jobs. Growing up in poverty, Joe often faced harsh physical punishments at home, which left him living in fear and lacking confidence. The Great Depression left many families struggling, and Joe's family was no exception. His father worked long hours as a laborer, while his mother did whatever she could to make ends meet. Despite their efforts, the family barely scraped by. This financial struggle led Joe to begin working at an early age. By the age of 8, Joe's family faced severe financial difficulties. At the age of 9, he had to work to support his family. From shining shoes in bars to delivering newspapers, washing dishes, and even running errands, Joe was never afraid of hard work, as long as it brought in money. However, the hardships did not end there. Joe suffered from severe asthma, which made physical activities extremely challenging. Despite his illness, he continued working, pushing through pain and exhaustion. On top of that, Joe faced bullying from his peers. His small frame, coupled with his stutter and his economic situation, made him an easy target. All of these adversities took a toll on young Joe, but they also shaped his resilience. At the age of 25, after many years of hardship, Joe met a benefactor who offered him an opportunity to work in architecture. This benefactor saw something in Joe that others had missed: a determination to succeed. Thanks to this opportunity, Joe not only learned the skills of an architect, but also inherited the company after his mentor retired. For the first time in his life, Joe felt a sense of security and purpose. He worked tirelessly, throwing himself into the business and learning everything he could. It seemed as though luck had finally smiled on Joe, but at the age of 35, in an attempt to expand his business, he was scammed, leading to the collapse of his enterprise. Joe found himself in debt, losing over 60,000 United States dollars, wiping out years of hard work. The collapse was not just a financial blow, it was an emotional one. Joe had worked so hard to build something meaningful, and now it was all gone. This failure not only affected Joe, but also brought pain to his wife and children. By that point, Joe had tried over 40 different jobs, but in his eyes, he was nothing more than a failure. Even making a living to support his family became a challenge. His wife, who had stood by him through thick and thin, also began to lose hope. Joe later described this time as the darkest period of his life. He felt as though he had let everyone down. Realizing that no one in the world had experienced as many failures as he had, Joe decided to give himself another chance. Despite his severe stuttering, Joe applied for a job as a car salesman, viewing it as his only path forward. He had no experience in sales, and his communication skills were far from perfect. But Joe had something that could not be taught: an unbreakable will to succeed. Upon receiving his first paycheck, he brought it home to his wife and vowed, "From this moment on, you will no longer have to worry about food and clothing." This promise became his driving force. He would no longer allow his family to live in poverty, and he would do whatever it took to make sure they were taken care of. When faced with his fears, Joe was filled with determination. Every day, he stood in front of a mirror, practicing his speech and telling himself, "I will overcome my stutter." He watched himself speak, correcting his mistakes, and slowly but surely, he improved. In his mind, Joe always imagined a single staircase that he had to climb, with no elevator to speed him up. He knew that each step would be difficult, but he was committed to taking them one by one. Remarkably, within a few short months, Joe overcame the speech impediment that had burdened him for 30 years. Joe started from scratch, determined not to miss any opportunity. He focused on communicating with customers, answering all their questions, and paying attention to the smallest details. Once, Joe even went to a stadium and threw his business cards into the air. This bold and unique action left a deep impression and resulted in his first car sale. From that moment, Joe's name became synonymous with trustworthiness and reliability. Joe realized that selling cars was not just about the product, it was about people. He genuinely cared about his customers, often visiting them at their homes and forming personal relationships. Joe frequently visited his customers' homes 12 times a year, ensuring that whenever they considered buying a car, they would think of him first. Even for customers who wouldn't buy a car for another 5 years, Joe maintained contact, sending them new designs every month. His dedication and care for his customers earned him a stellar reputation. On his first day at work, Joe sold his first car, a remarkable achievement for someone who had once been known for his severe stutter. As he continued working, Joe sold more and more cars, and by his second month, he had become the dealership's top salesman. Joe continued to break sales records, and from 1963 to 1978, he achieved what any salesman could only dream of, selling 13,001 cars in just 15 years. Joe's methods were unconventional. He would send personalized greeting cards to his customers on their birthdays, anniversaries, or even just to say hello. He made sure his customers knew they were not just a number. He remembered the names of their children, their favorite hobbies, and their vacation plans. Joe showed his customers that he cared about them as individuals, not just as potential sales. It was this level of care that set Joe apart from other salespeople. In 1973, Joe reached the pinnacle of his career by selling 1,425 cars in a single year, earning a place in the Guinness World Records as the world's greatest car salesman. It was an achievement that no one could have imagined, especially for a man who had faced so much adversity. He retired at the end of 1977 at the age of 49, but didn't stop there. Joe began writing books and became an inspirational speaker, traveling the world to share his passion and sales expertise. His most famous books include How to Sell Anything to Anyone and 13 Essential Rules for Salesmanship. These books were not just about sales techniques. They were about life. Joe spoke about the importance of hard work, determination, and above all, treating people with respect. In 2001, Joe was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame in Detroit. Additionally, he launched his personal website to provide sales advice and coaching. Joe Girard's legacy has become an inspiration for generations. On January 18, 2018, Joe Girard and his wife declined to attend a ceremony honoring another car salesman, Ali Rada, from the Les Stanford dealership, who reportedly sold 1,530 new cars and 52 used cars in 2017, breaking Girard's record. However, Joe Girard insisted that his record had been verified by General Motors and that Guinness still recognized him as the greatest car salesman, as there was no independent verification of Rada's numbers. Joe Girard passed away on February 28, 2019, after sustaining severe injuries from a fall at his home. Despite Ali Rada's claims, Guinness World Records continued to officially recognize Girard as the record holder. Until his final days, Joe Girard remained the king of car sales in the automotive industry. Not only was Joe a legendary salesman, but he was also the author of numerous inspirational books on sales. Among his most notable works is How to Become the World's Greatest Salesman, a book that stands out with practical sales skills coupled with valuable life lessons. Joe always emphasized helping others while achieving his own dreams. He lived and shared his personal experiences, rather than relying on imagined scenarios. Joe believed that success was a combination of perseverance, attitude, and strategy. He often wrote about the importance of facing rejection with a positive attitude. To him, every no was simply a step closer to a yes. His books were filled with motivational quotes and stories that inspired countless people to push through their own obstacles. One of Joe's best-selling books, How to Sell Anything to Anybody, was printed in over 2 million copies and shared the secrets he often conveyed during his speaking engagements around the world. He repeatedly stated, "I guarantee my methods will work if you truly understand and apply them." At the heart of his sales philosophy is the rule of 250, which posits that each of us knows approximately 250 people closely enough that they would attend our wedding or funeral. When you sell to someone who likes you, they will connect you to the people within their circle of 250. Some of those individuals may do the same, creating a snowball effect that expands your influence. The secret to success lies in filling the seats on your Ferris wheel with as many potential customers as possible. Once they become part of your network, your influence will grow exponentially. Joe viewed each sale as an opportunity to create a ripple effect. He would often tell his sales trainees, "Every car you sell is a new branch on your tree." He emphasized the importance of referrals and word of mouth. Joe knew that happy customers were the best form of advertisement, and he made it his mission to ensure every customer was more than satisfied. Joe knew that customers didn't just buy a product, they also bought into the way he dedicated himself to caring for them. Relationships with customers, as well as their families, friends, and colleagues, meant more to him than the raw sales numbers. Joe understood that building relationships with customers would bring more sales opportunities, especially when they continued to refer friends and family to him. When a customer mentioned having just returned from a vacation somewhere, Joe would seamlessly join the conversation, even claiming he had been there too, even if he had never heard of the place. Joe believed that a car sold by him was not just a car. It was a symbol of the special relationship between him and the customer. Joe often sought out potential customers by calling them. He randomly chose a name from the phone book and built a relationship. Joe didn't simply do business, he turned it into an art form. Joe left behind valuable lessons and experiences for those facing challenges in sales or financial difficulties. His journey was a testament to resilience. He often spoke of the need to transform obstacles into opportunities, and he lived by this principle every single day. He turned every rejection into a lesson and every hardship into a chance to grow. Don't sell products, sell emotions. Joe never pressured customers by listing reasons why they should buy his car. Instead, he sold emotions, giving them a sense of security when owning the vehicle. He would talk to them about the memories they could create with their new car, the family road trips, the safety of their children, and the joy of new adventures. Be approachable. Joe observed that wealthy people often had a tendency to live simply, and to become approachable, he chose to dress modestly. Joe wore what his customers wore. He made sure he never appeared intimidating. He wanted his customers to see him as one of them, someone they could relate to and trust. Understand customers. Retaining customers is the goal of any successful businessman. Instead of acting like a typical salesman, flaunting luxury and pressuring clients, Joe strived to understand his customers' struggles. He realized that customers didn't want a flashy salesman, but someone who made them feel special without being fake. He listened more than he spoke, and this helped him to truly understand the needs of his customers. Treat employees well. Joe believed in treating his employees with respect and humanity, unlike bosses who treated workers like unfeeling machines. He understood that happy employees sold more cars and were less likely to leave the company. Joe went the extra mile, organizing parties for employees and their families, celebrating their successes, and making them feel valued. He knew that a business was only as strong as its people, and he made sure his people were happy. Persevere against all odds. Joe's life was a testament to the power of perseverance. Despite countless setbacks, he never gave up. He believed that every challenge was an opportunity to learn and grow. His relentless determination to provide a better life for his family kept him going, even when things seemed impossible. Personal touch matters. Joe believed in the power of personalization. He would send handwritten thank you notes to his customers and even remembered the little details about their lives. This personal touch made a huge difference. Customers felt valued and appreciated, which kept them coming back and referring others to Joe. These strategies not only made Joe a successful salesman, but also helped him become an inspiring leader. Joe Girard showed the world that no matter where you start in life, success is within reach if you have the determination and the willingness to work for it. His story continues to inspire not only salespeople, but anyone who has faced adversity and refused to give up. Thank you for watching this video on our Success channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch more videos to support our team.